All right, people, how you doing? Welcome. Tonight's show is brought to you by none other than the Tim Black Wolfpack. Become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack show, Tim Black Wolfpack, Tim Black's crew, right? What we do is we speak truth to power. Every social media platform that you're on, we're on. Plus, we're on Roku, Amazon Prime. The show is also brought to you by none other than justinform.com. Justinform.com is a social media site that doesn't steal your data. We special. Come to justinform.com, become a member, and get information without a slant. It's founded by journalists and activists, not by corporate bloodsuckers like Jeff Bezos. Come to Amazon. Whoops. come to justinform.com. Damn it, come do it. And with no further ado, let's get the show started. Tim Black. Tim Black. Tim Black. Yes, I am. Truth. Funny. Tim Black. I am TimBlack.com. Tim Black. Yeah. Why not? Why not? Why not? All right, people, how y'all doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black at Night show. The Tim Black at very late at night show. Tim Black almost the next day show. Tim Black getting an early start on Saturday morning show, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth, man. I'm about to overshare, okay? We've been really busy this week, and we're doing a lot of babysitting. Me and my wife, babysitting our new granddaughter, Nailani, right? When her mom went back to work in a big way, she took on 2 jobs, and one of those jobs doesn't get off till midnight. So we've been doing a lot of babysitting, which means we babysitting a 2-month-old, right? So we up all the time. So we end up getting some food. We ordered some food because we ain't had time to cook. And damn it, if that food didn't have some type of MSG in it or something, man, knocked me out, guys. Put me flat out. And, you know, I got to watch stuff like that, you know, because the hypoglycemic index would just crush me. So I can't do it. So that's the last time we ordered from that restaurant. With that being said, guys, watch what you eat. Watch what you put in your body. It's real important. You want to have the ability, the stamina to keep going and get through your day and power through. You can't be eating garbage, man, and I know better. I just didn't know. Now I know what they put in their food. Oh, so tonight's show is going to be about, we got so much. Of course, tonight is Freedom Friday. Hey, let's stop playing with ourselves. This is Freedom Friday. Right? Freedom Friday is a show. Let me put the phone number up, guys, so everybody has it, because it's important that everybody has the opportunity to phone into the show and say whatever's on their mind. That's what's beautiful about this show. I would like to, I'm glad, like years ago, 4 or 5 years ago when we started doing this show, we've had a call-in show, a weekly call-in show. So feel free to take advantage of that. 319-527-6212. I'd like to give a shout-out to my people over there on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and Stitcher Radio, guys. You do know this show is available in the podcast format. If you want podcasts, we got podcasts. All right, so you can get that there as well as Facebook, Periscope. And shout out to the Truth Bomb activists and my people out there, the hashtag ADOS. That's American Descendants of Slaves that are tuning in. All right. What's up? And everybody who's shown me much love last couple of weeks has been really great. So we're going to talk about Elizabeth Warren because she's done something that most of these candidates that have announced that they're running for president has not done, and that is have an actual plan, something that actually speaks to black voters. So give it up for that. We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about Amazon. Amazon was set to build a second headquarters in New York, Long Island, New York to be exact, and they're no longer going to do that. They have decided to bounce, son. They have bounced, son, from New York. So, yeah, we're going to talk about what caused that or what's going on with that. There's a lot of conversation around, there's a lot of finger pointing, right? A lot of this going on about that because there was a lot of money at play. I'm seeing coverage of the story very much pointed in one direction. Very much pointed in one direction. And I'm gonna look at it for what it is, and I'm gonna call it straight. Also, a big hitter quitter tonight. Oh, we got some lighter news. I think I'm gonna save. I got a story that's a feel-good story. We're going to save that one. I'm going to surprise you with that. So no matter how down you get during the course of tonight's show, before we go to phone calls, you're going to feel invigorated towards the end just before I open up phone lines. And last but not least, we're going to take a little dive into Barbara Lee. Let's go for a swim in Barbara Lee's record and understand Barbara Lee and try to figure it out. Because as you know, or some of you may not know, Barbara Lee endorsed Kamala Harris for president. And yes, that's true. Before all candidates have announced, before a single debate has been heard, before even platforms for some candidates have been put out, Barbara Lee has also already said, hey, I know who I want. We ain't tell you who's running yet. Yeah, I know. I don't need to know who's running. So we're going to talk about that because some people were shocked that happened. We want to remove your sticker shock. And also give you a little something to feel a little bit better about. Okay? So let's get started. Let's start with... Now I want to go with Amazon for $200. I mean, come on. So many people use the services of Amazon. Let's do an Amazon. Do we have an Amazon? Cory Booker. I don't think we want to do a Cory Booker. Oh, we can start here. Actually, I do have a video of Amazon. Hold tight 1 second, guys. I have an Amazon video, if I'm not mistaken. We got Breakfast Club. Blame game. Let's try this.
Kosciuszko Bridge is knee-deep in redoing LaGuardia and went underground to avoid apocalypse on the subways. But master builder Andrew Cuomo was not able to deliver on a new Amazon headquarters in Long Island City.
It's like out of Gulliver's Travels. The little people took on the giant and they whacked at his legs and he fell down.
Political consultant Hank Scheinkoff referring to the so-called new progressives. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Councilman Jimmy Van Bramer, and Senator Mike Gianaris, who loudly and endlessly criticized the deal.
I have a lot of frustration with the opponents. I think they did a disservice.
And in one of the strangest developments in Amazon's sudden decision to flee the Big Apple, El Progreso de Blasio lambasted his leftist cohorts for short-sightedness, costing the city 25,000 jobs.
I think they made a huge mistake. I really do. They now have to explain to their constituents why we don't have these jobs, why we're not going to have a huge amount of revenue for the very things their constituents want.
Of course, Mayor de Blasio is in the tank on this, too. Many progressives think he lost the moral high ground by siding with a big corporation.
Governor Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio have to take all of the blame for this. It falls at their feet because they negotiated a deal behind closed doors.
Governor Cuomo, who has not yet spoken publicly about the Amazon diss, blames Senate Democrats, saying they scared Amazon away by naming Gianaris to a state board that has the power to kill the deal. Cuomo said that Senate Democrats, including Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart Cousins and her deputy Gianaris, should be held accountable for this lost economic opportunity. There is already this website, Defeat Gianaris, seeking supporters. And anyone who knows Governor Cuomo knows he will not soon forget.
Amnesia is not one of his characteristics. He remembers who helped him and he remembers who hurt him.
All right, guys, my bad. My bad. My bad. Hey, if you thought that was bad, this is going to be an improvement over what you just heard. Shout out to D. Hey, thanks, D, for calling me, man. It's bad because when I play a video, I have to mute because you'll hear echo. You won't hear the video well, but then I got to remember to unmute my mic. So, anyway, here's the deal, guys. Now we can do it without reading. Amazon wanted to come to New York to build its second headquarters. The left, the progressive left, the left that wants things like unions, they want things like the ability to bargain, union bargaining, was it employee bargaining, group bargaining? Bargaining with the company in order to get better wages, in order to get better treatment, in order to get better benefits for employees. Collective bargaining, Tim, that's the word you were looking for. They want those things, and Amazon basically doesn't want those things. Not to mention when Amazon comes into a location, what it tends to do is, similar to Walmart, it shuts down competition. What happens is they move in and other businesses cannot compete. They don't have the incentives that Amazon has, nor has the ability to lower prices. So similar to Walmart, other businesses tend to go away, and then Amazon is able to kind of like just scoop up everything and sort of like swing its thing around and knock other businesses out of the game. So there was a lot of pushback about Amazon from those who just think Amazon's a behemoth that needs to be broken up, that it should just be considered a public utility, so to speak, and it's just a conglomerate it's decimating too much of our economy. It's destroying jobs and industries, basically. The same could be said, if we look at what it did for books, for instance. You think it's good that it just knocked the little bookstores out of the way? You know, there were family-owned businesses for generations that no longer exist because Amazon, Jeff Bezos and company, came in and took away the book industry. The physical book industry is gone in a lot of places across this country. Now, for the numbers aspect, the deal, which included about $3 billion in government incentives for Amazon, was supposed to bring in 25,000 jobs. So when we get to that part, what's bothering me is when we say that, 25,000 jobs, people are not thinking about the 25,000 jobs at all. Or are we thinking about the 25,000 jobs? I want to know, are we thinking about the 25,000 jobs? I think we need to consider the 25,000 jobs. Hey, I wasn't on the committee. I don't have a say. I'm just saying, I know a lot of areas, a lot of states were bidding, trying to lure Amazon, and Maryland was one of those states that was trying to lure Amazon. Because every state needs 25,000 jobs. Now, when you say $3 billion, and say, Tim Black, what about the $3 billion tax revenue? What about that? Why should Amazon get that type of tax break? Well, here it is, guys, and whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, this is the story. When you create 25,000 jobs, where the median income of those jobs or salary of those jobs is $150,000, you tend to create billions and billions of dollars worth of tax base. So the $3 billion is the hit you take as New York, but you then pick up another additional $10 billion in tax revenue from the 25,000 jobs. That's what they're reporting. Now, I haven't done the numbers on it. This is what I've been reading. Because unlike some, I want to look at both sides of this issue. Okay? So we say, oh, we hate businesses. Businesses suck. Okay? Well, businesses employ people, and people need jobs. I was looking at one survey, one poll that said 70% of Latinos in Long Island wanted this Amazon headquarters, and some 80% of African Americans wanted this headquarters. You know who didn't want the headquarters? According to the poll I read, well-to-do white folks. White guys. White guys didn't want it. They only wanted 30% of white folks, I think it was. Now, don't hold me too tight on those numbers, but I'm in the ballpark on each one. I'm going by memory. All right, so we're looking at it. We're making a judgment. We're on our high horse. Are we truly considering what's at stake for the people that live there who need jobs? Now, We want to talk about creating jobs that are not working for Amazon or for such companies that pillage from the community, that pillage and take, and you engorge yourself with this huge monstrosity of a corporation called Amazon that gets bigger and bigger, that's unwieldy, and you can't control it, and it devastates and destroys. It's like a bully. Amazon is like the Debo of corporations right now. But on the other side of it, what about the people that need work? This is the conundrum. Now, I understand people feel different ways about this. I feel different ways about it. I see the ups, I see the pros and the cons. But when we had these conversations, can we please look at both pros and cons? No, we can't. No, we can't. We can't because people just get angry. They don't want to think. They want to get angry, and they want their team to win. Sometimes you win to lose, and sometimes you got to lose to win. That's true. I don't know if this was the hill to die on. This is the thing I'm concerned about, guys. This is what I'm concerned about. Donald Trump. This type of thing helps Donald Trump in the end. In the end, it looks like Democrats don't want jobs. Looks like Democrats push away job creators. Get out of here, job creator. We don't want you stinking 25,000 jobs coming in. He's going to run on that. I mean, we do realize that, right? So I think I'm still on the fence, guys, only in this way. What's the alternative to this? What's the alternative to an Amazon coming in and 25,000 jobs? What's the alternative for the people in Long Island, the people in surrounding areas? And look, it's not just the jobs. It was the infrastructure upgrades that were set to be put in place to improve the rail system in New York. Now look, I live in Maryland. I lived in Maryland all my life. Maryland, D.C. I lived in D.C. I lived in Maryland. I never crossed the line to VA because it's scary over there. But listen, all my life I've been hearing how when I complain about my rail system, my Metro Rail, I need to shut the hell up because I ain't seen nothing. I have not seen anything until I've gone to New York and ran or rode their rail system. They're like, what? You don't like this? This is like living in Trump Tower. What? This is like... You're like, well, this is great, man. You complain about D.C. Metro? Dude, you should go to Manhattan. All right, so also, what was the candidate who was running to upset Andrew Cuomo? What's her name? The actress from the show? She was fighting to get the railways in New York repaired, brought up to par with the rest of the fucking country. That was in there. That was in there. So I just want people to know when you're going, yeah, we beat the big company. Yeah. Now what? Now what? Speaking from blue collar background. I know people say they blue collar. I know they say they from working people, but speaking from truly from working people. Like right now, working people, like paycheck to paycheck people right now. Holla if you know what I'm talking about. We're my paycheck to paycheck. We're my homies, paycheck to paycheck. We're my sisters, paycheck to paycheck, barely making it. One $400 emergency away from having to do something you don't want to do, like pawn something. All my people struggling. What's the plan for those people who could have had their job and been able to get themselves in a better position to put some money away or be able to, take a night course or be able to do whatever. Like we got to make it till we break it or make it till we fake it, till we make it. We got so I like progressive policy. I like progressive thinking, but we also have to live in the here and now where we are. Are we doing that? That's it. All right. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conversation about this because people want to look at it one way. And God damn it, it's not just one way. It's not just one way. It's both ways. All right? So give it up for that story. Oh, I'm ready for it. Okay. So, damn it. We got so much. Let's go to Elizabeth Warren. Okay? Now, we all know our situation with Elizabeth Warren. A lot of us have looked at what's going on with her and Donald Trump and be like, oh, my God, Elizabeth Warren, what are you doing? This does not help anyone. It's back and forth with Donald Trump over your native ancestry. Helps no one. And then we have the native peoples, the indigenous people coming out and saying, oh, no, you're not native. And now that looks bad. So some people are still holding on to that and they're really upset about it. And then there's others who are not so much upset about it. They just thought it was a feckless, reckless, what the hell was it, mess that could have been avoided. It kind of shows that Donald Trump can kind of, bait you in and you come in for the kill. It's not a good look. So that's that one thing, right? That's one thing, right? She apologizes. She says she didn't mean it this way. It's still a story, but okay. Unforced error is what it is. Then we also have the people that are holding on to their animus about Elizabeth Warren back in 2016 not endorsing Bernie Sanders when she had an opportunity to, and instead endorsing the now failed campaign of Hillary Clinton. There are some people that feel a certain kind of way about that because, with all due respect, if Elizabeth Warren would have endorsed Bernie Sanders back when Massachusetts was in play, we may be looking at, or we could be looking at, a Bernie Sanders in the White House, because one win can change a lot. That one win changes something. But we'll never be able to go back in the time and get a do-over to find out. So there's a lot of things people have to say about Elizabeth Warren, a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings people have about Elizabeth Warren. But right now, I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic about Elizabeth Warren because she has done something that several of these other candidates have avoided doing. Now, I'm not talking about Andrew Yang, who I'll be interviewing next week. Give it up for Andrew Yang. Leave him out. Let me sit down and talk to him. Some of the other candidates, the more popular candidates. Elizabeth Warren has put together a plan. Elizabeth Warren has a plan to close the racial wealth gap. Okay, so I've just started to unpack this. I started reading this today, getting more information on it. What Elizabeth Warren proposes is a plan, a housing plan called the American Housing and Economic Mobility Act. The plan intends to reverse and remove decades of governmental housing discrimination and to close the racial wealth gap that has accompanied that discrimination. So it says here that decades of lending and housing discrimination aided in creating a deep-rooted and stagnant racial wealth gap. Families became victim to a discriminatory system that made it difficult, if not near impossible, to overcome economic inequality. In fact, they were battling a system that was ensuring their economic inequality. That's a statement from Elizabeth Warren. An acknowledgement that, yes, not only, see, this is the problem that we've been having, is that there are people that have been tepid, timid, fragile even, when addressing the issues of discrimination. They do so without speaking specifically to what has been done. They say, oh, America has treated African Americans in such a way, blah, 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 blah. But no, Elizabeth Warren's been very specific. Specificity counts. It counts because it's no longer murky. See, I want people to know with no lack of certainty. I want you to realize exactly what was done. I keep telling people the issues that we have, forget that. The issues that Tim Black has with the American government about racism and discrimination, systemic discrimination, will not be about the racist woman in the Walmart parking lot that can't keep her fucking mouth shut. My beef is about a government that had policies in place to limit black achievement, specifically designed to do so. That is not your fault, your problem, white guy from Illinois. It's not my friend Rob's fault from West Virginia. He works on computers. He has a computer company. It's not his fault that the U.S. government in 1965 had these policies, redlining policies, that stopped the government from giving loans to certain people who lived in certain zip codes when they knew those zip codes were black zip codes. That has nothing to do with Rob. That's nothing to do with Rob. Nothing. It's not Dave from Stone Mountain's fault that the government did these things. He didn't know about it. He didn't co-sign on it. He hired a guy went in there. This is what that guy did. Okay, these are the policies that they enacted. My beef, right, is with media not putting it simple and plain. Instead, throwing me the raw meat of Coupon Carl and Barbecue Becky and all of these ignorant assholes who have no power. Meanwhile, distracting us from the real problem. And the real problem was, you said we couldn't get home loans, mofo. You said no home loans for black folks. And where the middle class wealth has been built on home ownership, equity in land. If you deprive a group of that, the ability to build wealth, then turn around and say, hey, what's wrong with you? Well, you made it so I couldn't build no wealth. And you've been able to build wealth, and I can't build wealth. That kind of changes everything. Well, if someone took away your ability to earn a living, white guy, what would you do? Well, building wealth far exceeds making a living, because we're talking about you can't pass down your paycheck, but you can pass down your deed. Give it up for that. You can't pass down your paycheck. You die tomorrow, you can't say on your deathbed, I would like my son to have my job. That ain't how it works. They would be like, somebody will be picking up your pencils immediately. Oh, look at Bob's chair. Bob's chair is really nice. I'll take that. No, your son doesn't get your job. Neither does your daughter, sister. That's why this is important. Now, back to Elizabeth Warren. These discriminations have been ongoing for generations. They heavily affect children who are confined to low wealth and low asset appreciated zip codes, meaning the housing that black people have been confined to are not the only issue that are subject to in their neighborhoods. Low wealth areas are prone to have low government funded schools, parks, cultural institutions. Poor schooling only decreases the chances of overcoming economic equality. It says poor schooling only increases or decreases the chances of overcoming economic equality, which only adds to the government's role in ensuring the racial wealth gap. Okay, so Warren's bill intends to move away from these discriminatory practices and institutions in order to enact real change. Including in the bill is a down payment assistance program designed to support families who were historically excluded from government programs. The American Housing and Economic Mobility Act also aims to aid black families. Look, it's a specific agenda, item, policy item to make black folks more competitive in the United States so they can better contribute to the American dream. You know, they love saying what's the whole thing? What's the Charlemagne likes to use it now? The rising tide lifts all ships. Well, even Charlemagne's smart enough to know that don't work. Because if you on the bottom, you stay on the bottom. Everybody you just do like this. It's like this is what happens. Okay? This policy is specific to black folks who are at the bottom. And I appreciate Senator Warren for introducing this. Now what we need to do is dig into the weeds of it, get into the details. If there's an act, well then I'm sure there's a PDF that we can obtain, and we could read through, and we could do a sort of like a discussion about it. So, I like I said, I'm excited about the possibility. And now, this leads me to this. Now people say, Tim Black, we don't trust Elizabeth Warren. I'm going to keep it real with you. Let's keep it 100 with everybody watching. I don't trust any politician. That's not my job, okay? I've been let down more times than you can count. I think I got a dialogue, a conversation with a certain politician, and they just turn cold. I don't know what's going on with these people. Look, listen. This ain't about personality. It's not. It's about policy. It's not about, oh, well, she said she was Native American. Okay. What if they harping on the Native American part because she's the only politician that actually go in and make it so the historically disenfranchised can actually get home loans? What if the whole idea is to keep us focused on the Native American thing she said or whatever she signed back in 72 or 79 or 86 in order to keep us distracted so that we don't support a candidate who might actually do something tangible? See, I don't see Kamala with anything specific about black people. I don't. Now, white folks, whenever a candidate runs and they don't say black or Latino or Native American or Asian, they talking to you. Let's just keep that 100, okay? Because I get too many, it's just crazy. Like, you don't realize that whenever a politician's talking, they are talking to you unless otherwise stated, okay? Because some of my white friends get upset like, well, what about me? I've got a family. I need to live indoors. You're right, you do. And they need to speak specifically to your issues. The thing is, you are the default. I'm not saying it's your fault. It's not your fault that you are the default, but you are the default. So recognize that. Now, recognize your newfound power. Oh, I have the power. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. So in order for them to talk about our issues, we have to make them be specific. Because if not, what they say, the squeaky wheel gets what? It gets the oil. Now, some people act as if this is a hard concept to grasp. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. They say, oh, no, I don't get it. One of the people that acted like it was a hard concept to grasp today was Stephen Sharp. Oh, Shannon Sharp. I'm sorry, Mr. Sharp. Was Shannon Sharp. Okay? And I had a conversation with him about it. It was a very brief conversation. Because, he clapped back, and that's it. Then he don't got nothing else to say. After he said something, he don't got nothing else to say. Who am I? Ain't nobody. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm talking to this peon dude for. I could post memes about Eric winning, about Eric and Eric Reed and Kaepernick. I got time to be talking to this guy. Who's this guy? He ain't on FS1. Who is he? Who's this guy on Twitter? Time to talk to this guy. All right. So what I'm looking for now is his tweet. Where is this tweet? Here we go. I found it, guys. One second. This is it. This is what started it, okay? Now, remember what we were talking about. We were talking about these policies. Similar to the policies that Elizabeth Warren just laid out. A policy directly impacts is to address decades, if not more, of systemic discrimination based on race that our government and our lending institutions practiced over an extended period of time. This is what Shannon Sharp said. He says, why must blacks, he ain't talking to white folks, he ain't talking to Latinos, he ain't talking to Asians. He says, why must blacks running for political office always answer the question, rather they're black enough by black people? Okay, let me just read that again. Because some people who went in at me for talking directly at Shannon Sharp the way I did, because I don't have time to play with them, they ignore the fact this don't make much sense. But listen, one more time. It says, why must blacks running for political office always answer the question, rather they are black enough by black people? So white people should ask black people if they black enough. Look guys, who the hell, Hold on a second. Let me get back on the screen, guys. Here we go. All right. Who the hell asked any candidate if they was black enough? Who asked the candidate if they were black enough? I don't remember that. We all know. Let's cut the shit. He's talking about Kamala Harris, guys. Come on now. That's it. He done took time off of smoking big cigars and looking at his football rings or whatever and chopping it up with rich people and hanging out with all the rich people that he's been hanging out with. And I've been hearing a lot about you, Shannon Sharp. Okay, I've been hearing about your history before FS1, before you became the person talking about Kaepernick and these other issues that you do on the FS1 show that's giving you very good ratings. I've been hearing about how you moved about. I've been hearing about that. But we're not going to go there personally on you. But I want you to know I am aware. I know some people that you know who have been telling me about how you got down and who you associated with and what you really was about before suddenly becoming Mr. Black Voice for America. So I want you to know I'm not operating from a position of ignorance. The only thing I know about you is your persona on FS1. Back to your comments, sir. You said, why must blacks running for political office always answer the question, rather they are black enough to white people? What I don't like, first of all, I don't like the framing of the question, but I don't like the caper for Kamala Harris. We know that's the reason why you're asking this question. Just say it. Why y'all being mean to Kamala? Why y'all being mean to Kamala? Kamala deserves so much more consideration. Look at her. She black. She got brown. She black. She got brown skin. What's the problem? Why y'all asking her questions about her, who she is? Let's keep going. Then he says, whites running political office never get asked, never. I ain't going to be an ass, so I know he meant never. Get asked, are they white enough by white people? Now look, guys. I took some classes. In Maryland University. I took some classes at Northern Community College. I took some classes at PG Community College. You're looking at a product of the Prince George's County public school system. I do not have a degree, but I've worked around people with degrees who had them and that weren't that smart. I'm going to submit to you that this comment made by Shannon Sharp, I'm not going to say he's not a smart man, but I'm going to tell you this tweet is not written smartly, nor does it make a cohesive argument for what he's trying to say. Now, a lot of you who came at me for dissecting this tweet in a series of tweets, you let him slide because he got money. That's the reason why. Because this is a broken English, don't make much sense, calling black people out, comparing black people to white people. Well, we all know black people and white people. It's a vast difference between where we are financially and on the wealth ladder in this country, both in power, both in wealth, both in property, both in resources. We already know that. There is no comparison. Shannon Sharp is 40-something years old, just like me. We both grown men. And if Shannon wants to act as if he doesn't know there's a reason, like he wants to act like he doesn't know why black people would be concerned when somebody says they black and when they announce their candidacy on Martin Luther King Day. Why do that if you, what are you trying to say? But there is no questions to the politician. But I don't want to get too far. Let's just wrap up his tweet. Then he ends it up, he says, let's stop defeating ourselves. Black people before we run the race. Lord have mercy, y'all. Lord have mercy. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. He says we need to stop defeating ourselves. It's not the systemic problems that Elizabeth Warren laid out when it comes to like redlining and the racial wealth gap that she has produced legislation to combat. No, it's us. We the problem. Well, if we just get out our own way, everything will be A-okay. If we just shut up and stop questioning our politicians, because we all know that's really what's holding us back, us asking black politicians if they black. Yeah, it wasn't segregation and Jim Crow and slavery and Reconstruction and redlining and mass incarceration. It wasn't none of that. The drug epidemic, the cocaine being thrown into our neighborhoods, the crack era, the overcard, the 3-strike laws. It wasn't that. Our real problem, our real problem is we be asking black politicians, are you really black? I.e., meaning, do you really give a damn about black people? Shannon, you are smart enough to know that's the reason why people ask that question. Now, I don't agree with it because I don't think it's helpful, because later on I'm going to agree with something you say, which is, listen, it doesn't matter what color somebody is if they don't have your best interests at heart. Right? I've been saying that since 2014. I've been saying that since 2014. None of this is new. We've been saying the same things. It's just different people say it different ways. And different people have been saying it to different audiences. But I've been saying this since 2014 when I discovered what Obama was really doing. People who have watched me know this. You don't know me? You think, oh, I'm a coon because I call out Shannon. There were people calling me coon for calling out Shannon Sharpe after he made a tweet like this, because they are so stars in their eyes that they can't even read a tweet and say, hold on a second, why is he blaming black people for black people being in the situation they're in? Hell, in my opinion, Elizabeth Warren, she may not be Native American, but she sure is blacker than Shannon Sharpe based on her legislation. And why do we allow rich people like Shannon Sharpe who has succeeded? Everybody throwing in my face, everybody need to do as well as Shannon Sharpe. Well, you know what? Everybody can't play football. Everybody can't play football and everybody can't rap. But that don't mean that everybody don't deserve opportunity, sister. I know you like him. I know it makes you feel good when you see him up on his show and spitting that stuff and talk about Kaepernick. But what about everybody else? What about this tweet that's horrible, that was sent out, how many times to get retweeted, guys? 14,000 likes and 3,000 retweets. All right. Now, I responded to the gentleman, and I will admit I was not the nicest person when I responded to him, okay? But what I did not do was call him out of his name. What I did not do was insult him as a man. I did not call him names and did not insult his manhood, okay? I did not. But I did question him. And I think I have the right to question him. Who is he? He's just a person like me. And this is what I said to Mr. Sharpe. All right? And I'm going to let my audience take a look at this. And you let me know how wrong I am, okay? You can decide to follow me, unfollow me, or whatever you want to do. I said, basically, Shannon's saying, don't y'all go causing trouble demanding candidates have plans for your communities. Meanwhile, Shannon hasn't lived in our community for 20 years. Shannon believes speaking on black issues on FS1 equal political power. It doesn't. Don't be like Shannon. All right? Now, that was a hard tweet. I didn't pull any punches. Of course, we had people down in the comment section defending Shannon Sharpe. Shit I should not even responded to. But that's how I felt about it at the time. I felt that Shannon Sharpe was telling us don't go causing trouble, demanding that our candidates have plans for our communities. I went on to say other things that also spoke to Shannon Sharpe that I thought were even more succinct. I was just getting started then. Hey, that was just me getting warmed up. That was my first tweet. I didn't know he was going to stop talking after that. I didn't know he was going to stop talking. I thought he was going to keep going. I said to Shannon Sharpe, Shannon Sharpe is complaining we need to do. Shannon Sharpe is complaining we need to treat politicians better. Black folks are the most loyal voting bloc in America. Shouldn't that mean an agenda? Shannon thinks that should mean silence. Shannon thinks that should mean anyone who thinks like Shannon is not fit to lead. Period. All right. Now, just because I think it was a good response to Shannon doesn't mean you think it was a good response to Shannon. Okay? Then I posted this remark, and I said, Median household net worth by race and employment status. Now, this is compliments of Sandy Darity, an economic professor at Duke University, if I'm not mistaken, who's been lauded and often mentioned by Tone Talks and Yvette Cornell, Breaking Brown, Yvette Cornell and Tone Talks in their work. And it shows you exactly. I posted this picture and I said, look, man, a picture's worth 1,000 words, or at least 280 characters. And it just shows you the difference between what's going on with black America, what's going on with white America. This is the median household net worth by race and employment status. This is not salary. It's not saying that the average white household makes $144,000 a year. It says their median household net worth. You know, assets. I think it's a big difference between $144,000 and $11,000. Now, I could stay on the Shannon Sharpe situation all night, and I could go over and over about how I feel about Shannon Sharpe, and I could continue to lay out our tweets. I will, in respect to Shannon Sharpe, he did respond to me one time before he got tired of me, little old Tim Black, who got time to listen talk to this guy. He defended himself and corrected the record. What did it say? It wasn't long. It was put up, right to the point. Oh, here he goes. This is what he said to me. He said this, guys. Out of respect to him, this is his response. Shannon Sharpe said, everyone knows Shannon doesn't basically say, I say it. Do get mad at my political well-being. Another problem that you and others perpetuate in black communities. If blacks don't live in black communities, they don't care. FOH, meaning fuck out of here. Okay? So that's what he said to me. That was his response to me, was that everyone knows Shannon doesn't basically say, I say it. Do get mad at my financial well-being. I'm not mad. Did I say anything about Shannon Sharpe's financial well-being? I did not say anything bad about Shannon Sharpe's financial well-being. I said that Shannon Sharpe is not thinking like a person in the community that's been decimated. We need to hold politicians accountable. We don't need you caping for Kamala Harris. That's what this tweet's about. No one's a fool. No one is fooled. His tweet is about Kamala Harris. Now, I'm going to get off of this and go to the next topic because I got a feeling that most people watching this do not care much about my Twitter beef or my Twitter entanglement with Shannon Sharpe. But I will leave you with this, guys. And this is from the bottom of my heart. This is for Shannon Sharpe. And I mean this with all due respect, sir. One grown-ass man to another grown-ass man. You have been elevated, Shannon Sharpe, not because of what you did on the football field. There are many great football players. You have been elevated by the black community because your ability to speak what? Truth to power. That's why people like you, Shannon Sharpe. You get up on that show with Skip Bayless and you tell it. Like you say, you don't just basically say it, you say it. And I admire that. But, be careful, Shannon Sharpe. The reason why we respect you is because you're speaking truth to power. But what you did today is you spoke falsehoods to the powerless. You blame the powerless people for their own condition. You defended politicians. You are more concerned with the feelings of politicians. Why do we ask politicians why they think about black people? Instead of saying, you know what, the politicians are applying for a job. A politician don't have to answer the question, but they can be asked the question because they are applying to be a public servant. It's not the other way around. So my thing is this, Shannon Sharpe, if you would like to maintain your exalted status, you ain't got to want to. You can say, I don't want to do it. I ain't got time to be criticized by no dumb Tim Black on Twitter. Who's this guy? I'm a Hall of Fame all-pro player. I'm just suggesting that maybe you stay in your lane and make sure when you speak truth to power that you're not punching down on the very people that support you, sir. Now, I know there's a lot of people who this went over their head. They were mad that I was talking bad about their uncle. They never met you, don't know you. They defended you like you was a brother. I get it, I get it. But you and I both know, later in your tweets, when you started talking a little bit different, when you start saying, well, you know, just because somebody black doesn't mean they have your, you know, doesn't mean they going to vote black or do right things for black people. Yeah, you started cleaning it up after I pressed you. That's what you should have been doing to begin with. Do not cape for politicians who have not earned our vote. You would never, ever knock. You would never knock a Jewish person for saying, what you going to do for Israel? If you did, you'd have no show. You would never knock the LGBTQ community or the Asian community or the Native American community or the Latino community for saying to politicians, oh, you want to run on us and you want to you announce your candidacy on Cinco de Mayo, and we ask you, well, where are you from? And you got a problem with that? You would be like, well, that don't make sense, because it doesn't. But for some reason, too many celebrities like yourself, Shannon Sharp, you think you can say anything to black folks and get away with it. Well, you are going to be challenged, because we have black media now. And not everybody's willing to kiss ass. Not everybody. I'm going to hold you accountable like I hold anybody else accountable. And that goes to politicians as well. And in turn, you can hold us accountable. We hold each other accountable. I'm not your enemy, but I'm not your fan. At least not too much of a fan to call you out when you're wrong. That tweet went to thousands of people. And you should have said it better. You should have stated what you meant. There should have been no misunderstanding who you was talking to, sir. I should have never been lost in the weeds thinking you supporting a candidate over the people. Why do black people do such and such? I don't know. Look, that didn't work for Bill Cosby. It shouldn't work for you. Why do black people do this and black people do that? We have been given a shaft, and it ain't because we asked black people or black candidates about where they from. That ain't why, brother. All right. All right. All right, guys. Now let's get to the main topic. The main topic here, guys. Barbara Lee. Okay. Wow, can y'all even see me over here? I think you can. All right, so Barbara Lee. Gosh, this is bad. Let me set the table, guys. Okay, so Barbara Lee, as we both know, she recently endorsed Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. Kamala, Tim. Okay, so Barbara Lee, she announced this, and people are upset because she endorsed Kamala Harris. And I understand why they're upset about it, because maybe they thought that Barbara Lee would be more of a champion for a candidate that was less controversial than Kamala Harris. Now, if all you did was watch MSNBC, Ari on the beat, when he had the Breakfast Club up there defending Kamala, or if you watched Rachel Maddow's interview with Kamala, or if you watched, I don't know, a CNN town hall, Kamala, you would probably think, well, she's not controversial at all. She's great. Well, maybe you need to watch more independent media, because we've been unpacking this. People are upset because Barbara Lee, she has demonstrated in the past that she will stand up for what she believes. I'm going to go a different direction than some people have talked about this, and I want to submit to you that maybe supporting Kamala Harris is what she believes. Maybe to her, that's the way to go. Barbara, and I remember, okay, so Barbara Lee, in 2001, she voted against us going to war in Iraq. She did that. Give it up for that. She did do that. That's amazing. Do you realize the amount of ridicule and pushback she received for doing that? Well, first of all, before we even get to that, Barbara Lee is a success story. It's truly one of those stories that should be a movie. All right? I want to give respect to that. Barbara Lee, raised in humble beginnings, very humble beginnings, put herself through college, single mother, ends up in Congress, not connected like families, nepotism, getting the support of a family structure that already had, their finger on the pulse of the big wigs. No, she did this from the bottom up, okay? So Barbara Lee, once again, guys, very interesting story. Please, if you have the opportunity, take time to understand it. So I'm not saying at all that Barbara Lee, isn't someone who hasn't paid their dues. She's paid her dues. Then 2001, after I think she came into Congress in 98 or 89, one of those, she voted against us going to war in Iraq. She voted against the authorization to use military force, and she spoke about it. And here goes the video of her speaking her dissent, her nay vote on that, okay?
Gentlewoman from California is recognized for a minute and a half.
Thank you, and I want to thank our ranking member and my friend for yielding. Mr. Speaker, members, I rise today really with a very heavy heart, one that is filled with sorrow for the families and the loved ones who were killed and injured this week. Only the most foolish and the most callous would not understand the grief that has really gripped our people and millions across the world. This unspeakable act on the United States has really forced me, however, to rely on my moral compass, my conscience, and my God for direction. September 11th changed the world. Our deepest fears now haunt us. Yet I am convinced that military action will not prevent further acts of international terrorism against the United States. This is a very complex and complicated matter. Now, this resolution will pass, although we all know that the President can wage a war even without it. However difficult this vote may be, some of us must urge the use of restraint. Our country is in a state of mourning. Some of us must say, let's step back for a moment. Let's just pause just for a minute and think through the implications of our actions today so that this does not spiral out of control. Now, I have agonized over this vote, but I came to grips with it today, and I came to grips with opposing this resolution during the very painful yet very beautiful memorial service. As a member of the clergy so eloquently said, as we act, let us not become the evil that we deplore. Thank you, and I yield the balance of my time.
A lot of us felt that Barbara Lee's statements here were from the heart, and they had very much respect for her ability to buck the system. I just want people to really, before we move to the next point, I want to point out the backlash she received from this, all right? I just want you to know that that was not easy for her to do, okay? I want you to know that the pushback that she received from the American public was stiff and aggressive and brutal. They question her patriotism, as you know they will, because anyone who doesn't go along with war is a horrible individual that hates their country. We don't give a damn that she was right. In hindsight, she was right. But that's not what they focus on. How many people focus on it? I mean, what did she really get for that? I just want you to know that she received death threats, hate mail, and as much shade as humanly possible from not just counterparts, but the public at large, for saying, let's not rush into war. Let's make sure that violence is, that us pursuing this path is what we need to do. She didn't even say she wouldn't support it. She just said, let's slow down. For that, they called her basically a traitor to her own country. So let's go to the next point, where some other stuff happens that I think also paints more of a picture for Barbara Lee, okay? Representative Barbara Lee, it seemed like the party was finally going to do something that was going to actually put her in a position of leadership because she had been in Congress. Now, we're fast-forwarding from 2001 to 2016, okay? After finishing 2 votes shy of breaking into the House Democratic leadership in 2016, The left-leaning California Democrat is counting on a stronger start and a liberal base clamoring for hard-edged resistance to President Donald Trump in her bid to win election as Democratic caucus chair. In an interview with Politico, Lee touted the new wave of progressive energy and noted that Democrats have never had an African-American woman in leadership. I wanted to be a voice at the table that really hasn't been at the table. That's what she said. Now, here goes a clip, guys, of Barbara Lee being interviewed by Joy Reid having just that conversation.
I'm sorry, that's anywhere right now. You've got Jim Clyburn, who's the leader. You've got the caucus chair and vice chair. You've got the Congressional Campaign Committee chairman. So you've got all these different people that are below the level of Speaker of the House. At the moment, none of those top leadership positions is occupied by an African-American woman. And I don't think that there has been a black woman in the top leadership of the House. Am I wrong about that?
You're absolutely correct, Joy. First of all, African-American women have been the most loyal and consistent voters in the Democratic Party, and we've really, in many communities, in many ways, have propelled these wins throughout the country. And so it's time. Let me just give you a bit of history. The first Congress was seated in 1789. Since then, and I was elected in 1998. Okay, I'm the 20th African-American woman elected to Congress since 1789, and when I was elected in 98. But having said that, there have been 0 African-American women elected to a leadership position. Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, whose legacy and life we honored 50 years ago, she was elected on November 5th. She actually ran in the mid-70s. She ran against Tom Foley. She got probably about 100 votes, and they actually created an appointed position as secretary. But people are stunned when I tell them this. They cannot believe that African-American women in the House Democratic caucus have been really locked out all of these years and have never had a seat at the table. The public wants change. They want new ideas. Black women help broaden the perspective for the country in terms of an agenda that's going to speak to the aspirations of the American people.
And so, obviously, Congresswoman Marcia Fudge is making that very point, right, as she contemplates whether she will run for the Speaker's position.